From Pennsauken High School, it's a breezy Monday afternoon for BCSL Patriot Division Baseball. Today, it's the Bordentown Scotties facing off against the Pennsauken Indians without a cloud in sight here in Camden County. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Wilkins. This is, as we said, a beautiful day. It's about 70 degrees. There is some whipping wind here in the forecast today, but it's going to be a great ball game between Bordentown and Pennsauken. Pennsauken, a lot of people have learned about what Pennsauken baseball is about in the last 6 weeks. They won 2 games in 2025. They were 2-14. They missed the South Jersey Group 4 playoffs, and really nobody knew how they would advance in 2026. But they riffed off a couple of wins, and then they riffed off even more wins after that. And blink and you miss it. It's the first full week of May, and they're 11-2. Their 2 losses came to Burlington Township at the very beginning of the season, and Northern Burlington, the Group 3 state champions, who are 16-0 on the year. Guess what? If you're Pennsauken, those are 2 very admirable teams to take a fall to. And even then in those 2 games, they lost by 2 runs or less. For Bordentown, they're chasing a milestone today. First of all, they're throwing their best pitcher of the year on the hill in Andrew Forster. He's got 196 strikeouts. He needs 4 today to reach the 200 strikeout mark, and he's already got 60 this year. And for Bordentown, they've been in a bit of limbo as well. They first of all hired a new head coach in Gary Sarno after the old one retired after 12 years in Chris Glenn. But before they could even play a regular season game, Gary Sarno got hit in the face by a foul ball and was sidelined for the first 8 games of the year with fractures in his right cheek. But however, he is back in the dugouts today for Bordentown. He's been back for a few weeks now, and we're going to get to see him in action here in BCSL Patriot play. So even though Pennsauken's won the division, it doesn't mean that this game doesn't mean anything. Pennsauken still is proving their worth in Group 4, and they're going to do it today versus a very valuable opponent in Bordentown. Juniel Ventura is on the hill for the Indians, and as we said, Andrew Forster on the mound for Bordentown. We've got a quick break coming up right after this. It's Bordentown and Pennsauken coming up after the break. Your starter for Pennsauken this afternoon, Juniel Ventura. He's only got 5 1/3 innings pitched this year with just under a 4 ERA with a 1.68 whip. He struck out 11 batters. But of course, they had to use a lot of their pitching, including Kelvin Batista, who struck out a whole bunch versus Northern Burlington back last week. So here on this Monday afternoon, they are in a bit of a different predicament with their starters. As we'll take a look at Bordentown's lineup after this game gets underway. Bordentown in their yellow tops, Pennsauken in their all-black uniforms, as we've seen before here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. It's a beautiful day, and the first pitch is a strike called on the outside corner. It's 0-1 to the first batter of the game in Williams, the freshman for Bordentown. Another strike called. Back-to-back fastballs that time by Ventura, and he makes it 0-2. It's Nate Williams, the starting third baseman, and the freshman. It'll be Evan Cacciabato, the sophomore, on deck, and there's strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to start the ball game. There's one away. Here's your starters for Bordentown, led by the 500-win head coach Gary Sarno, who's been at many different places over the years. Nate Williams in the leadoff spot at third base. Cacciabato, your shortstop, batting second. Chris Basile at second base, batting third. Wyatt Steckley, the left fielder, batting fifth. J.R. Brovac, the first baseman, in the 6th slot. Luke Harris in center field. Andrew Forster, the pitcher. His battery mate, Ryan Wood, in the 8th slot. And then batting ninth will be Cole Gottesman, the right fielder. As we said, Forster, 196 strikeouts. He'll be looking for number 200 this afternoon. Time of first pitch, 3:58, as there's a strike called. And as we mentioned, it is a beautiful day, 72 degrees here in Pennsauken, but winds of up to 21 miles an hour on the wind gusts blowing in towards right center field. There's a swing and a miss. 1-2. Cacciabato, the sophomore for Bordentown. 5'10", batting .208 this season with 6 RBI, 10 for 48, 12 walks and 14 stolen bases. So he has been good at getting on base for sure. Went 1 for 4 in Bordentown's loss to Doan Academy on Friday. Score of 7-2. Bordentown has lost their last 3 games, 5-11 overall in the season. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games. But they did win 2 in the middle there versus Florence and Holy Cross in late April. Foul tip. Gets away from the catcher Pena, and we stay alive at 2-2. We saw them last on March the 27th versus Northern Burlington. Northern Burlington won the game in 5 innings, 12-1. Their other wins this season: they beat Maple Shade on opening day, 5-2. They beat Florence twice. Burlington Township, 3-2 was the score, as this one's popped up back behind the plate, and that will go out of play, so the at-bat stays alive. The Burlington Township and then Holy Cross Prep. And this is going to be a very long road trip for the Scotties, to say the least. They were on the road versus Doan on Friday, and their last home game was versus Morristown, an Olympic Conference opponent, on Wednesday. But this is game 2 out of 7 in a very long road trip. The next time that they're home won't be until May the 18th. In 14 days, that's 2 weeks. They'll play Pemberton on the road, and then Hamilton West, Allentown, Cedar Creek, and Hopewell Valley. That Cedar Creek is going to be a long drive for the Scotties. But the 2-2 from Ventura outside and not called a strike. It's 3-2. Some of the Pennsauken infielders thought that that was strike 3, but to no avail. And it's a full count. This one's skied foul, so this is going to be another addition to a long at bat. And it's still 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes. Ventura looking to set down Cacciabato, and he was unable to. Here's pitch number 9. That one goes up onto the berm in right field. Ventura still working with a full count, and the pitch is high. So what a way to work it on a 10-pitch at bat. Cacciabato draws the walk, and he gives the Scotties their first base runner of the afternoon, as he'll head down to first base, and we'll see our number 3 batter take the slot for the Scotties in Chris Basile. Basile, a junior, takes the first pitch outside, or inside, pardon, 1-0. Batting .244 this season, 12 walks, 11 hits, 45 at-bats, and 7 RBIs, 2 extra base hits. Had 26 hits as a sophomore last year. All of them were singles. Also had a hit in the 7-2 loss on Friday to Doan. They scored 1 run in the first, 1 run in the third, but 7 late runs by the Spartans put them ahead. 2-0, runner goes. This one's high. Pena's got a throw down to second. It looks good, and it is not in time. Great way to get in there by Cacciabato. He'll make the count 3-0. The pitch was high. The throw down looked good, but it might have been a little bit short. And that will be a stolen bag for Evan Cacciabato to make it a 3-0 count. As we said about Friday, Bordentown had 7 hits in the game. Only batter with multiple hits with J.R. Brovac, who is manning first base today. 3-1. This one is jammed foul off the fence, and it's 3-2. So Steckley, the left fielder, will be on deck. And this is our first of 2 broadcasts today as well. We'll have a 9 o'clock game in the Civic Reach Cup, the Audubon Hockey League. Some local hockey action, connecting with the local community down in Audubon. So big thanks to Mike Warren. That ball is outside for ball 4. So we've got runners on first and second and 1 away. As after a really convincing strikeout to open up the ball game, we've now seen 2 less convincing walks as he brings up Wyatt Stuckley. And not to say that, this is a reflection of how Batista's been all year. He's been quite good as a pitcher all year. But sometimes you have those first inning jitters, something where you're just not finding your groove right away. And I think the wind isn't really helping. I haven't been to Pennsauken enough to tell you if this windy day is typical to have, 20-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts. But Ventura, the 0-1, outside, just a little bit low as well. Been a very tight strike zone so far. See if the same applies to the Indians when they take the at-bat. Runner moved back, and now this ball is laced into center field. He'll take a step over. De Leon has it. He'll make the catch. And they'll really just have to see whether or not he can get him to go. But that time, appeal down to second says no. So it's 2-2, and now runners will be on the corners. Two balls, 2 strikes to J.R. Brovak. If the inning continues, it'll be the number 6 hitter in Luke Harris. This ball is hit into right field, a base hit. This one's going to go down, and it'll stop in the grass. Takes a hard stop. Now a throw back down to second because the runner overran the bag. It's an RBI single for J.R. Brovak. That's his 3rd hit in the last 2 games, and that'll set up a 1-0 Bordentown lead to take advantage of the 2-out base running. So now the 3rd base runner to reach for Bordentown and their first hit. And we'll now get to see Luke Harris. Andrew Forster, the pitcher, is in the on-deck circle. There's a strike call. Harris, the senior, batting .217. 5 RBIs and 5 for 23. Outside. Bordentown as a team is only hitting .232 with a .277 slugging percentage, and they only have 1 home run. That came from Brovak earlier in the season, as that one will be a strike called, and it's 1-2. Actually didn't pick up that one. I apologize. 2 outs, 2 on. And now a back pick to first. They had the runner well off the bag, but he is safe. Brovak gets back in there sliding. He had to really dance around the back pick. That was going to be a tough one to get around. But we'll see if the pitcher gets to bat or if he'll get to take the field in the bottom of the 1st inning. Pennsauken looking to escape the jam, and there's a strike call. It'll be 3-2. First 3 for Pennsauken in the bottom of the 1st will be Matt Padro, Jonah De Leon, and Kelvin Batista. Fouled back. He'll stay alive. Just the hustle and bustle of Pennsauken behind us. Gonna have to learn next time I go to Pennsauken to not park my car where I park it for football, because that was a long uphill walk to get here. I didn't even need to go on the treadmill with the incline this morning. I just should have known that this was going to be the case as he gets the swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Ventura. He strikes out 2, and Bordentown gets a run on an RBI single by J.R. Brovak. Pennsauken will take their first at-bats when we return in the bottom of the 1st inning. Bottom of the first inning, your starter for Bordentown, Andrew Forster. He's already up to 39 innings this year with a 1.6 ERA, 70 strikeouts, a 0.79 ERA, and 6 walks. He needs 4 this afternoon to get to 200 on his illustrious career. I remember I covered this kid as I think it was a freshman when Bordentown played Audubon back in 2023. So he's definitely been working at his craft for a long, long time. As it'll be Matt Padro leading us off for Pennsauken here in the bottom of the first inning. First pitch, big swing and a miss, 0-1. Makes sense here for Bordentown. I mean, listen, Pensauken's already won the division at 6-0, and it really, I think, once we realized that Pennsauken was going to go on this winning streak, that they ended up realizing that, listen, if you can't win the division, you just got to play the best you can versus what is now the de facto best team in the division. Bordentown 4-3 in Patriot play. Strike call, an outside corner. Good frame behind the plate by Ryan Wood, and it's 1-2. This does appear to be their last divisional game of the year. They do play Pemberton on Wednesday. There's a swing and a miss. There's 197. One away. But their next games are a combination of out-of-conference and, if not all out-of-conference opponents, because they really did front-load their schedule with conference talent. They'll, again, Pemberton on Wednesday, but then Hamilton West on Saturday. Allentown on Monday the 11th as De Leon fouls this one back. Cedar Creek on Wednesday the 13th, which that's going to be a long drive down to Mays Landing. Hopewell Valley on the 15th, and then 2 home games to close out the season. West Windsor North on the 18th. Steiner for their night game on the 21st, which is the last Thursday of the season. De Leon fouls it back. It's 0-2. Jonah De Leon commit to Camden County College. 3 home runs this year. Batting .341, 15 for 44, 8 extra base hits, and 14 RBI. His 3 homers this year came from Gloucester, Delran, and Pemberton. That one's outside, 1-2. De Leon, I can tell you, we had a game versus Gloucester. It was the Camden County tournament, the first round, and of course Pennsauken will now play Eastern in the Camden County final at a to-be-determined date. Outside, 2-2. But what I can tell you is he hit a home run in the first inning of that game that went about 430 feet. It cleared both fences at Gloucester. There's an outfield fence, and then there's one that separates the crowd from, I think, some kind of gully or a reservoir, if you will. And he cleared that. He was about 5 feet from hitting it away into the parking lot. That's how much he mashed the ball. Pop up back behind the plate. Wood might have a play, and he will not. It'll go out of play, and it's still 3-2. Kelwin Batista is on deck in the 3 spot, your right fielder. So De Leon, just like Bordentown's number 2 hitter did, Cacciabato, he's been working the count in this at bat as well. Forster, as we said, needs 4 for 200, and after the first, he needs 3, and he won't get it there. Ball 4 and a breaking ball away, and Jonah De Leon will get the free pass. Let's take a look at what head coach Rolando Gautier has in store with their starting lineup. Matt Padro, the shortstop. Jonah De Leon, you just saw, the center fielder. Kelwin Batista, the right fielder, is at the plate now in the 3 spot. Evan Krestel is the designated hitter, batting 4th. It's Raymond Pena batting 5th behind the plate. Roger Torres, the 3rd baseman, batting 6th. Alvin Polanco, the 1st baseman, in the 7th slot. It's Jeremy Batista in left field, batting 8th, and Aiden Alvis, the 2nd baseman, in the 9th slot. Strike called to Kelwin Batista. Did a fantastic job holding Northern Burlington to their own earlier in the week on Friday. There's a swing and a miss. He's committed to Franklin Pierce, a Division II college in Pennsylvania. which has recruited plenty of South Jersey talent for this recent class. They've got both Harrison brothers out of Delsey, Kyle Harrison and Connor Harrison, not to mention Jack Jantorno out of Haddon Township, and as we said, Batista. That one's up high. Good fastball there from Forster. Couldn't get it to bite, though. And it's 1-2. Evan Crystal, who, well, first of all, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters were all ones that homered back on March the 30th or 31st versus Gloucester, a 14-1 5-inning win. This ball's fouled, chased it a little low, and it goes back towards Sarno and the Bordentown dugout. So still 1-2. Forster, swing and a miss. There's 2 strikeouts, and there's 2 away. As Forster picks up 198. And the batter will be Crystal. Both strikeouts swinging as well. Crystal, a transfer from Camden Catholic. He homered along with Batista and De Leon when we saw Pennsauken last versus Gloucester City. Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Here comes a throw from Wood. It looks late. It was a good throw, but it just kind of lost its sails at the end. Didn't have the same zip on it. But the runner gets down to second on the swing and miss, and it's 0-1. Crystal and then the catcher Pena for the Indians. Forster looks back at second. Shortstop now trailing off the bag in Cacciabato. This ball is skied out towards left field. Could be a play down the line. Look out. Almost hit some fans setting up shop there down the left field line. And it's 0-2. Forster will lead off for Bordentown in the top of the second inning, 7, 8, 9. Forster and then Wood, the catcher, and Gottsman. Crystal out of the left side, the 0-2. With the runner on second, flails this one foul. Not a bad swing there by Crystal. I think on 0-2 you have to be especially protective, especially with 2 outs. Considering that Forster has a good command of the fastball. He likes to go higher in the zone than a lot of pitchers do these days. You know, he's trying to get these hitters out with a ball that rises a little bit instead of that ball that sinks, which is what we usually expect out of the fastballs these days. But Crystal now floats one out towards shallow left field. Got a play. And making the catch down the left field line will be Steckley to retire the side. Pennsauken leaves the runner in scoring position, but Forster gets 2 Ks closer to his milestone with a strikeout of Padro and Kelvin Batista. Through 1 here in Pennsauken, just off of Route 130, the Scotties lead the Indians 1-0.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need.
And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives.
If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
Pennsauken High School, we're through one. It's 1-0 Bordentown. J.R. Brovac got an RBI single, and now the man of the hour is Andrew Forster. It's Forster, Wood, and Gottesman. First pitch, swing and a miss. 0-1 to start the second. Both of these pitchers feel like they're in great command of the zone, I think, even though there was a walk allowed by both sides, two specifically by Joniel Ventura. I think that both pitchers still know where their fastball is. It's the off speed that's kind of messing them up right now, and it's not messing them up in a crippling way. It's not messing them up in a way that's going to ruin their game. But I think that both of these teams are going to have to find their groove, because you don't want this game to become high scoring because neither of your starters have control. That one's low, 2-2, which we've seen a handful of those games before. Trust me, I see it all the time in junior college. We do a lot of Region 19 games, and we have the Region 19 tournament set for next week. The 14th, 15th, and 16th as there's strike three. First strikeout. No, it is the third strikeout. I had the wrong lineup card. I thought that I had the Bordentown one, and indeed I did. So Forster goes down on strikes, and now it's Ryan Wood, the batter. And you could just hear the wind straight through our headset as Wood flies this one over the head of Crestel. It's foul. Pardon, that's Alvin Polanco at first base. Crestel is the designated hitter. The 0-1 to the senior Wood, outside. There's been some frames attempted there by both catchers, both by Raymond Pena for Pennsauken and for Ryan Wood on the other side. Batting 158, 6 for 38. And a swinging strike that time, 1-2. This one is fouled. Curveball on the inside half of the plate. That was deposited the other way by Wood. One ball, two strikes. Ventura, outside corner, called strike three. There's four for the right-hander here in the early going, and Ventura picks up another strikeout, his fourth of the day. There's out number two here for Cole Gottesman. Gottesman takes a strike. Another freshman in the lineup for Bordentown. This ball is hit out to second base. Alvis is there. Throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. So a clean second inning for Joniel Ventura, and through an inning and a half here in Pennsauken, Bordentown unable to replicate their first inning. The score holds at 1-0. Andrew Forster back to work in the bottom of the second. Again, he needs 2 more Ks for 200. Now, the last time that we saw somebody mark 200 strikeouts was Frank Chiron, which was with Delsey back last season. It was in the second round of the Diamond Classic. He had a 12 strikeout performance versus Haddon Heights. Delsey won the game 6-4. The first pitch to Pena. Strike called, 0-1. 5, 6, and 7 for Pennsauken. Pena, Torres, and the first baseman Polanco. The 0-1. Fastball upstairs, 1-1. But of course, Chiron, second-round draft pick by the Milwaukee Brewers in 2025, got injured in a car accident on New Year's Day in 2026. So he is just now getting back to playing professionally in the Brewers Single-A organization. Had a lot of rehab, trained down at Baseball Performance Center in Egg Harbor, and very painstakingly and very slowly got back to throwing. I mean, he was, grateful to be alive after that car accident. Apparently what had happened, he had gotten hit in a T-bone accident in his hometown of Franklinville, which, if you know a lot about Gloucester County and the rural parts of South Jersey, you know that those are some very unforgiving roads. They're very long, straight, and you got 50-mile-an-hour roads with stop signs. There's a strike 3 called. 199 for Forster. He's already got 3 today, and he's got 1 left. And it could be Roger Torres, it could be Alvin Polanco, or it could come later in the game. Who knows? But you can tell why this kid picks up so many strikeouts. Just has a great feel for the zone, really doesn't let things slip from him. Even that walk that he had to Jonah De Leon earlier in the first inning, that was a highly earned walk. De Leon just outsmarted Forster, which not a lot of batters have done. That was only the 7th walk that Forster has allowed this year. Taking a look at his stats again with the 1.6 ERA in 39 innings. I mean, that's amazing. 6 walks in 39 innings. That's, on average, a walk every 6.5 innings. As this ball is skied into deep right field, but it'll stay in the ballpark more straight away, and it's taken in for out number 2 as Torres flies out to right. It'll bring up Alvin Polanco. But Forster, again, he just has such great command of the zone. He's throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, and he's really just finding a way to command the at-bat. It doesn't mean that you have to throw a first pitch strike every time, and it really doesn't even mean that you have to throw it 80% of the time. It means that you just have to have a general idea of where the strike zone is and then paint those corners. It's becoming increasingly harder for these high school pitchers to paint the zone, if you will, because the emphasis is on throwing harder and the emphasis is on really upping the velocity. Everything is harder, faster, stronger. There's a strike called on the fastball, 1-1. To Alvin Polanco, the first baseman. And that's not me really whining per se. I just think it's a phenomenon of the game that really has become a lost art of patrolling the zone and really being your own man on the mound. Polanco down 1-2. Chance to see number 200 for number 2-1. 2-strike pitch is low. So he would become the second pitcher for DWB to reach the 200 strikeout mark on our broadcast, with Frank Chiron of Delsey doing it last year. Forster working quickly. In the windup. He got him. There's 200. The air horns go off. He'll pick up that baseball. And Bordentown, win or lose today, they'll have something to celebrate. The senior, Andrew Forster, his 200th career strikeout. He's up to 74 on the year, and he gets that one to end the second inning. We're through 2 here in Pennsauken. It's the Scotties 1 and the Indians 0. Jersey is the number 2 seed. As we said, they beat Manville 19-0 in the first round, which was even larger than Audubon's 16-0 win over Paulsboro as the 1 seed in the first round. That one's hit out towards center field straight away. Oh, she misjudged it. Got over her head in center field. Now this one's got a chance to be 3 bases for Spire. She's flying around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is not in time. What a way to kick off a semifinal with an inside the park home run. Emma Spire, who will take her talents to the Great Danes after 2026, lights up the scoreboard with a fly ball that got misjudged in center field. Starting off the third, 1, 2, and 3 for Bordentown. Here in the top of the third inning as this first pitch is hit out to straightaway center field. The dive, he can't get there. This is going to be extra bases for Williams. He'll stop in standing, and that's a leadoff first pitch double for the freshman, Nate Williams. It goes past a diving De Leon, and while it was a valiant effort, he just barely missed it, and Bordentown's got a runner in scoring position to start the third. That's a great start for Bordentown as well, especially considering that you don't know when Pennsauken's going to burst. Are they going to get a whole lot of runs to be able to get back into this game, or will Bordentown have to add on that insurance before Pennsauken can reopen that door? It's only 1-0, so you can't really say right now that it's too far gone. I mean, it's really not gone. Pennsauken can get it a 2-run home run in the bottom of the third and take the lead right back. So again, it's all the more reason to get Bordentown some extra insurance on the board. Here comes Pat Cacciabato with a bunt. It's a roller down the third base line. It gets bobbled. He'll turn around. He'll head back to the bag. And he's going to try to indulge the third baseman, but he will not. And it'll be a bunt single. Don't think that ball, I think that ball just went right through him, so I don't think it's an error, but it moves the runners to the corners now. So nobody out and 2 on. As Cacciabato gets that one going. That one's lined to third. Throw to the plate. No, throw to first is in time. The run scores a 5-3 ground out. Drives in a run. It scores Williams, and it's 2-0. Yeah, I missed that play over at third originally, but it does move the runner to second. And just a strong play nonetheless. That's why I got confused. I thought he was going to throw it home, but he just decided to give up the run and bring it across the diamond. Make it 2-0 Bordentown here in the top of the third. Wide Steckley now the batter. First pitch. Strike called, 0-1. Certainly a good way to get that insurance as well, even though you give yourself up for the out. A little bit of small ball there after the double by Williams. Still with the runner in scoring position for Steckley, though. Pops this one up. Back behind the plate, maybe has a play. He will turn around and he will not have a play. 0-2 now. Steckley flew out to center field in his first at bat. That ball gets away. Runner's going to get to third. It's a ball in the box. So it'll be 1-2, and now another runner 90 feet away for the Scotties, which, considering that Pennsauken shut out Bordentown when these two met in early April as a part of that 11-game winning streak for Pennsauken, can really see how the Indians can fight through this adversity at this time. Steckley and then Brovac. Brovac had the first RBI of the game, a knock to right field the other way. to score Cacciabato, who's now on third. Strike three called. That's strikeout number 5 for Juniel Ventura, and there's 2 away as J.R. Brovac will be at the plate. I think they're really here for Bordentown. That'll be a great full circle moment for him to get 2 at-bats, 2 RBIs, really solidify his presence in this stage in the lineup. Because again, Bordentown is struggling. They're trying to find their best opportunity, their best way to get ahead. And that's not easy when you're 5-11 and you've lost 6 of your last 8 games. So to come back here versus the hottest team in South Jersey, and I say the hottest because I don't think anybody else expected Pennsauken to take this path this quickly after losing 14 games last year and going 2-14. I don't think anybody expected this turnaround that the Indians have had. That one is low. And when you talk about power points, Bordentown, as it stands right now, is the 14 seed in Central Group 2. They would have to travel on the road to A.L. Johnson of the Union County Conference in their first round game. Governor Livingston, to the surprise of nobody, leads that power points bracket. They are 14-3, tied with Rumson Fairhaven. They separate RFH by about 0.4 of a power point. And 3-1. Popped up. Back behind the plate. And still out of play again, back behind Pena, and it's 3-2. For Pennsauken in the bottom of the third inning, it'll be 8-9-1. Jeremy Batista, Alvin Alvis, and Matt Padro for Rolando Gautier and Pennsauken Indians. Down by 2. The payoff with a runner on third. That one's up and away, and Brovac walks to put the runner on first base. And it'll now set up Luke Harris as Batista in a little bit of trouble. What makes this pitching matchup kind of odd is that you've got the TCNJ commit in Forster, who's thrown now over 40 innings this year, versus a guy in Juniel Ventura who's only thrown 5 1/3, as that one's up and in. And that's not discrediting Ventura, that's more or less saying you usually like to see matchups that are pound for pound. You know, if you've got a guy who throws a lot of innings, you're going to probably go up against a guy who throws a lot of innings. But Bordentown, they're really trying to punch up to their competition here and throw their best arm versus, without a doubt, the best team in the division. Holy Cross is at a down year. Florence hasn't done well, and that's been about it. 1 ball, 1 strike for the number 6 hitter in Luke Harris. He struck out to end the first inning. This one's high. Here comes a throw down to second. Collision, and he is out at second base. He'll get the throw down. A strong throw from Raymond Pena, and a bit of a hand up there to retire the side as the inning ends on the caught stealing. We'll go to the bottom of the third. Bordentown adds on another run, and they leave 2 on. It's 2-0. Welcome back. Let's take a look at that play that ended the top of the third inning. A caught stealing Ramon Pena threw him out to retire the side. I want to take a look at that again. Oh yeah, he did get him. Okay. I didn't see that at first. I apologize. I wasn't sure what the call was, but it was the right call. Got him right in the chest as a swing and a miss. A big swing that time by Jeremy Batista, the left fielder. And it's 0-2. Batista, Alvis, and Padro, 8-9-1 for Pennsauken. Trailing by 2 to Bordentown here in the bottom of the third inning. The 0-2. Up and out. Yeah, this probably is our last time seeing these two teams this year. We'll see Pennsauken most likely again for football. Great time seeing Billy Snyder, the athletic director, one of my favorites in South Jersey. I don't mean to brag, but I think what makes a great athletic director is somebody that's personable. And first of all, I'm not saying he's a great athletic director because, you know, he's very favorable with, you know, media folks like us. But I think a great athletic director is somebody who's very personable, somebody who is actually passionate about the athletics. Like, he doesn't need to be at the baseball game right now. You know, you don't have to worry about crowd control at a baseball game. Football and basketball, yeah, you know, you probably have to worry about crowd control and security. But no, this is just a Monday afternoon, and he's standing there right behind home plate watching the ball game. And he's got, when I was talking to him, I was asking him about basketball, and there's strikeout number 201 for Forster. I said, no, that's not what I said, but I was talking to him about football, and he had his Sixers hoodie on. You know, listen, he's a sports fan. And I think that's what makes a great AD, is somebody who is, you know, very personable, down to earth. It's one of those jobs where you do have to have a sense of warmth. You know, you can't be cold and maybe dictatorial like a administrator could be. You know, like a superintendent or a principal, where you kind of have to lay down the letter of the law. I remember when I was in high school, my athletic director was Tony Carbone, and he was one of the nicest people you could have possibly run into. You know, you could find him on the street and you could say hello to him, and he could have a full-blown conversation with you for 20 minutes. I mean, he was so knowledgeable about Audubon sports. You know, grew up in the area and was the athletic director there for 15 years. It's one of those positions that usually doesn't last for that long. You know, not ADs, but every other position. Sometimes the ADs, they'll be there for 20, 30, even longer. But Forster now picks up the strikeout. He's got 6 on the day. We turn the lineup over back to the top for Matt Padro, and he also struck out in the first inning. So Forster, now that he's over 200, the objective the entire game has been business. But now that the milestone is over, it really means business now. As Padro, he'll be followed by Jonah De Leon for Pennsauken as they look to get on the board here in the bottom of the third inning after trailing by 2 to Pennsauken. To Bordentown. Chopper on the first pitch, out to second base, picked up. Throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. So 1-2-3 frame, and no hits through 3 innings for Andrew Forster. Only the 1 walk allowed, and he's barely put any balls in play. Only 3 at-bats have ended with a ball in play. 2 flyouts and a ground out. Through 3, it's Bordentown 2, Pennsauken 0.
Book Dog Pro Wrestling for your next event or outing for the greatest action that New Jersey Pro Wrestling has to offer. Any place, any time, any setting, Dog Pro Wrestling will bring the action to you, and you won't want to miss it for moments like this. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Max Mundo, the Dog Pro Wrestling ambassador.
This is Max Mundo with Dog Pro Wrestling. Are you a civic organization, sporting club looking to fundraise? Then look no further to Dog Pro Wrestling. We do grand openings, corporate events, and much more.
And why not from some of the wrestling talent themselves?
I'm Vinny the Fixer, and I'm the champion of Dog Professional Wrestling. If you want to book the best, come see us. We're the cream of the crop. We'll come to any fundraiser you can think of. Just name the place and we'll show up.
This is the upstanding Dylan Mesh, and for the entirety of my professional wrestling career, dog wrestling has been a mainstay for where I like to wrestle. So you can believe me when I say that it is quality. And I'm upstanding. I'm the only opinion you need.
Yeah! It's your boy Gabriel Hodder here with my man Matthew Oman, and if you want your events to be all fight, no flight,
then book Dog Wrestling so you can witness true primal fear. Woo!
First pitch of the fourth inning is lined into center field for a base hit. Luke Harris, who restarted his at-bat, got that one through the middle. And the pitcher, Andrew Forster, will bat. Of course, Forster, as we've mentioned ad nauseum in this game, reached the 200 strikeout mark in the bottom of the second inning. And he's only allowed one base runner, just one above the minimum, a walk in the bottom of the first. So he'll bat with nobody out and one on. Strike is called. But it's been a strikeout-heavy contest so far, with 6 for Forster and 5 for Joniel Ventura for Pennsauken. The 0-1. This one is skied into shallow right field. Batista is there. He's going to run in, and he'll make the catch. 1 away. Bordentown 2, Pennsauken 0 here in the top of the fourth inning on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on their first attempt. You can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road, just minutes from Route 55. Back pick to first base, tough tag, and umpire says he is safe. So to Ryan Wood, the catcher, the battery mate of Forster. He'll deal with a runner on and 1 away. But Harris started his at-bat in the third inning, but his runner at first base was thrown out at second. And Wood struck out looking in his first at-bat. That one's high. But Ventura has done pretty well, and 2 runs through 3 innings is better than a lot of pitchers can muster here in South Jersey, as there's a swing and a miss. It's just that Pennsauken hasn't had the same luck on the offensive side, which has been surprising. As we know, Pennsauken, after losing their first game to Burlington Township, 11 straight wins before losing to Northern Burlington on Friday, 1-0. This one is laced back to shortstop. This could be 2. It's bobbled at second base, a collision at the bag, and they're going to say the runner is out. So it'll be an unusual fielder's choice, but the lead runner, Forster, is retired, and he'll go, or pardon, Harris is retired. Wood will get to first, and I presume they'll have a pinch runner for him, and they will. They'll get somebody to get their helmet on. That is a unusual 6-4 fielder's choice for out number 2. But it'll bring up the number 9 hitter for Bordentown in Gottesman. I mean, just right now, the big thing for Bordentown is you can't let your guard down. You're up by 2 right now. Andrew Forster has been dealing. He's been rolling. He's had a fantastic first 3 innings. You can't really let that ego get in your head. And not to say that Bordentown does, but instinctively, when you're doing well versus a team that you historically haven't done well against, it does start to swirl in your head that, hey, maybe we can beat these guys. But we're in the top of the 4th inning, and there's still a lot of baseball left. So the main point of what I'm saying is don't get ahead of yourself. There's still a lot of baseball left. The 2-0. Gottesman grounds it, foul down the third base line. And it's 2-1. Remember, the 52nd Annual Diamond Classic starts tomorrow. Pennsauken slotted in as the 14 seed after missing the tournament last year. They will host Egg Harbor Township presumably on Wednesday. And if they win, they will face the winner of Cherry Hill West and Pennsville at Alcyon Park in Pittman. Good news for Pennsauken fans. That means that if you win your first round game, will be at the Diamond Classic second round on Saturday. We'll tell you our first round coverage. Tomorrow we'll be down in Franklinville for Lenape and Delsey. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head the seed numbers, but that one is a dribbler out to third. Might have to save that conversation for the bottom half, and we will not, as an error at third base. That ball bobbled away. And now 2 runners on here for Bordentown with 2 away in the inning. That's going to send us to the top of the order for Nate Williams, the freshman. He laced a double to center field in his last at bat. So an E5 charged to Roger Torres. But Lenape and Delsey tomorrow in Franklinville, and then we'll be up in Burlington Township, but not at Burlington Township. We'll be at Doan Academy as they host Shallock. In both of those matchups, those teams haven't played each other in a long time. Lenape hasn't played Delsey since 2021, and Shallock, to my knowledge, has never played Doan Academy. This is the second year in a row that Doan has made the tournament, and their current leader of the BCSL Independence, 2-0 to Williams. They've been off to a great start, and I have this fascination with how Doan Academy plays baseball because they only have 11 kids. The 2 brothers, Jacob Powell and Chris Powell, are both committed to Chestnut Hill, as this one's lined into center field. It's going to be over the head of De Leon. This is going to stop in the grass in deep center field. He'll have a chance at 2 runs. Williams gets to second. On his horse is Wood. He will score. It's a 2-run double for Nate Williams, and the freshman now with 2 hits, 2 doubles, and you can add on 2 RBIs to the resume. It's 4-0 Bordentown. And I don't mean to discredit Nate Williams, but that definitely should have been caught in center field. However, that won't go down in the scorebook as an error because it didn't hit De Leon's glove. He just took a step forward. They tell you a lot in this level of baseball. You always want to take a step back before you take a step forward. The consequences of letting a ball drop in front of you as opposed to being over your head is a lot different. If that ball had dropped in front of him and he had taken a step back, or if he had made the catch, that is a lot different than being in the predicament of letting the ball get over your head and then allowing 2 runs to score. But Bordentown with the 2-run double. And this now sets up Cacciabato, who laces this one to left field, down the line. It's a fair ball. It smacks off the wall. Williams will score. Cacciabato on his horse. He stops at second, and Bordentown punching up to their opponent. They lost by 3-0 to Pennsauken when these two played last month, and now the tides are looking very different for Juniel Ventura and the Indians as it's now 5-0 Scotties. So if you missed it, a 2-run double by Williams, and now an RBI double by Cacciabato. That's his 2nd hit of the day. It's the 3rd hit of the inning and the 5th base runner to reach. But now just a quick pitcher and catcher meeting between Raymond Pena and Juniel Ventura. The batter will be Chris Basile. He's 0 for 1. Walked in the 1st inning, grounded out to 3rd in the 3rd. So as we said, getting back to our schedule, Lenape and Delsey tomorrow, Shallock and Doan Academy on Wednesday. Thursday is up in the air right now, but it's looking like it's going to be a non-diamond game, which would right now be GCIT Williamstown, but that is not confirmed at this time. We're teaming up with Wildwood Baseball to play down in Maxwell Field in Cape May County, just blocks from the Wildwoods Boardwalk. It'll be Pleasantville and Wildwood in non-conference play, 7 p.m. for Friday night baseball. There's a strike called, 0-1 to Basile. And then on Saturday, as we said, it'll be the first round of the Diamond Classic with, the second round of the Diamond Classic. All games after the first round are played at neutral sites. We'll have 2 games at Alcyon Park. This one is floated center field. It's going to drop for Basile. De Leon has a play. Here comes a throw. Cacciabato to the plate. He hits his cutoff man, Polanco. And it's now a 6-run lead for Bordentown. This is surprising on all levels as the 5-11 Bordentown Scotties, who have lost 6 of their last 8 games, have put up a very nice effort here in the top of the 4th inning. 6 runs all told, 4 in this frame. And we're now getting to batter number 8 in Wyatt Steckley. And now before we have another word, we'll have a mound visit here with Pennsauken staff. led by Rolando Gautier. Good friend of ours, Sechuayo Bird, is their assistant. Also the head coach for boys basketball at West Hampton Tech. And Pennsauken does have a left-hander warming up. Over down the line, that is number 9, Mateo. And they will take Joniel Ventura out of the game. So a strong offensive performance by Bordentown chases Ventura out of the game after 3 2/3 innings. It was his longest appearance of the year. As we mentioned in the beginning, he only had 5 1/3 going into the game. So we'll have another left-hander coming on. This time it'll be Mateo for Pennsauken. He'll warm up, and so will we. We'll take a break. It's 6-0 Pennsauken, pardon, 6-0 Bordentown with 2 outs in the top of the 4th when we return. Top of the 4th inning, Wyatt Steckley takes a swing and a miss. The new pitcher for Pennsauken is number 9, the left-hander in, pardon, can't find his name on my roster. It is Mateo, though. Miles Mateo, there we go. It's inside. A flat 3 ERA, 4 2/3 innings across 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and 1 walk. 8th batter of the inning, and now Pena goes out to check on Mateo. So to recap, since we do have a little bit of time with this 4-run frame, all 4 RBIs came from the top 3 hitters. We saw the inning start with a base hit from Luke Harris, but he was retired on a fielder's choice, and there were 2 outs. There could have been the 3rd out of the inning on a slow roller by the 9-hitter Gottsman, but it was bobbled at third base, and then really the geyser opened from there. There's a ground ball, backhanded at short, throw to first is in time. So to make a long recap short, 4 runs, 8 batters, and a grand total of 4 hits. Bordentown breaks this game open, and Pennsauken, they've got some work to do. Going to the bottom of the 4th inning, it's the Scotties 6 and the Indians 0. Bottom of the fourth inning, Andrew Forster is still working. As the batter is De Leon. He laces a ball. This is your first hit of the game. It is off the bottom of the wall. It almost got out. Harris has a play in center field. It's a double. Almost shades of his home run in Gloucester City, but Jonah De Leon, after 9 of 10 batters retired by Forster, he breaks up an uncomfortable conversation as he gets his first hit and the first hit of the game for Pennsauken. You know, the closest we've come to flirting with a no-hitter this year was Millville and Vineland back in way early April. It was Mario Toro who had it through, I believe, 5 2/3, so he was only 4 outs away. And then he gave up the base hit, finished the game with a complete game 1-hit shutout. Vineland beat Millville 8-0. This ball's fouled back by Crestel. Pardon by Kelvin Batista. Crestel is on deck. But to make a long story short, I mean, it was, that game in particular was wild because it was in the Cape Atlantic League. They play back-to-back in their division. So to make an example of it here, that would be like if this game was going on today and then Pennsauken would travel to Bordentown the next day to play their second matchup. Instead of Bordentown playing Pennsauken on April the 6th and then playing them a month and 2 days later, or just under a month later, pardon, on May the 4th. Looking back at second, and time is called at the plate. Crestel, the transfer from Camden Catholic, is on deck. Played there his freshman year and then went to Pennsauken for his sophomore year, and he's now a junior with them as that one's outside. But getting back to what we were saying, I mean, Toro almost had that no-hitter, but it was a game where it was extremely windy and it was a 7 o'clock night game. So a month before, the sun was pretty much set by the time the game started, as there's a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 7 for Andrew Forster, and there's one away now for the left-hander Crestel. But the game, it was 35 degrees by the time we were done, and the real feel was 26. I had my very thick gardening gloves on and could barely grip the pen to write the scorecard. As the first pitch to Crestel floats this one foul. Looked like a check swing. And that one's going to go towards the JV field. There is no JV game being played today. When I got here at 2:45-ish, the JV team for Pennsauken was warming up on the field, but they eventually went back, and now they're hanging out in the varsity dugout. The 0-1. Crestel down the right field line, and it's foul. 0-2. And if that was fair, very good chance that with how tall the grass is, that it would have allowed enough space for De Leon to score. Next batter for Pennsauken will be Raymond Pena, the catcher. But Jonah De Leon standing on second base with the first hit of the game for Pennsauken, trailing by 6 in the bottom of the 4th inning, looking to get back into the game. As the 0-2. This ball skied out towards straightaway left field. Gottheimer is there. He's there. He'll make the catch pretty easily for out number 2. But I should say, with the 22-mile-an-hour wind gusts today in Pennsauken, it is not ever easy to make a fly ball catch here. And I listen, this is my first time at Pennsauken for baseball. We've been here plenty of times for football and boys and girls basketball. I don't know if it's always like this because it's flat or if it's just a particularly windy day. But the batter is Pena, the catcher. He'll take a ball outside, 1-0. Pena 0 for 1. He struck out to open up the second. And your umpires for today, forgot to mention, Chris Horan is behind the plate. Jim Peterson is your field umpire. I was just talking with Mr. Horan before the game, and he mentioned to me that the umpires for today were outsourced from the Mercer County Umpiring Association. There were not enough to field umpires for the BCSL games today. BCSL games, usually they play them on Mondays and Wednesdays, as there's a ground ball out to short. Picked up, double clutch, and it's in time at first base. Pena retired, and the inning is over. So De Leon at least gets the weight off his shoulders by picking up Pensauken's first hit of the game. However, nothing more comes of it, as the next three are retired in order. We go to the top of the fifth. Bordentown looking to add on some more. It's 6-0 Scotties.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Top of the fifth inning here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you'd like to contribute to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we accept contributions via Venmo at DW Broadcasting. Of course, not required, but incredibly appreciated for the work that our assistants and our crew do to make South Jersey athletics as professional as they can be in South Jersey. I myself am a second-year student at Rowan College of South Jersey. After next year, I'll be at Rowan University pursuing a major in radio, TV, film, pursuing my degree in that. As the first batter of the fifth will be the only man not to pick up a bat in the fourth, which is J.R. Brovak, after 8 batters came up. But we've got some excellent crew members that have, they're not here today, but they've done an excellent job at making this content happen and making these broadcasts possible. Quick congratulations to 2 of our guys. I posted about it a few days ago, but didn't get a chance to go to saying it on one of our broadcasts. Vincent Foch, first of all, our first true quote-unquote crew member that we had back in 2023, and he's still doing games with us, you know, how many years later, and he just picked up a job over at Atlantic City, ESPN Radio 97.3. He'll be working with some great talents, Billy Schwein, Mike Gill, some excellent folks over there in Atlantic City. As there's a strikeout, batter's tagged out, and Brovak is retired for out number 1. It'll be Luke Harris. And then second of all, actually going back to Vincent, he's done a great job over at Camden County College. He's run their radio station pretty well for a good year now. He runs their morning show and their Friday sports talk. He does an excellent job over there. So I was just going to say he deserves all of his flowers that he's gotten now that he's going to be working at ESPN Radio. And then second of all, Chase Parson, our lead soccer analyst, he picked up a position over at the Ocean City Nor'easters, which is a USL League 2 team. Consider it to be more or less AA of hockey, of soccer, where he basically, you have MLS and then USL League 1 and then USL League 2. But wish him all the best. He'll be coming back for the fall, but I'm sure he will do an excellent job down in Ocean City covering soccer there for the Nor'easters. Strike called. Harris thought that was ball 4, but he'll get back in the box. But a beautiful sunny day, barely any clouds in sight from Pennsauken High School. 6-0 Bordentown with hefty wind gusts of 22 miles an hour, and that is strike 3. That's another one where Harris thought that he had jumped the gun on that one, and he indeed jumped the gun, as it's a strikeout. Third in relief for Mateo. Pennsauken will bat 6, 7, and 8 in the bottom of the 5th inning with Torres, Polanco, and Jeremy Batista. That one's away. But we take in the weather while we can, because later on this week is not going to look too happy with Wednesday and Thursday. Looks like we're going to see some bad weather patterns, some rain. Only is fair, because we did not have a lot of rain in April. They like to say that April showers bring May flowers, and really, we didn't have as many showers as we expected. I think I had maybe 2 or 3 games canceled, and that was about it. We had a pretty full month of April after last year, where we had rain almost every other day. Infield moved in, but no cigar. That's 2-2. For Forster, the pitcher, he'll have a quick turnaround if he doesn't get on base here with a strikeout and a flyout. And he'll get back on the hill, as that one is strike 3 on the outside corner. Strikeout of the side for for Mateo. He gets that one to go to end the inning as Forster goes down. It's his 3rd strikeout in relief, and he's picked up some good numbers here in the 5th inning, taking over for Juniel Ventura. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Time is, dare I say, running out for Pennsauken to get some runs on the board. They need 6 runs to tie, and they've got 9 outs to do it. We'll be back after the break. 6-0 Bordentown. Water Tower of Pennsauken as the first pitch is a ground ball out to shortstop. Always get a bad draw when we try to set up a scenic shot here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, but what do you know, it's 1 away on the first pitch. Andrew Forster still working here with 7 strikeouts. His 4th was the 200th of his career with Bordentown. Like I said, I remember seeing him play when he was a freshman, and Bordentown played my school of Audubon. That was when I was a junior in high school. And it really means a lot to have somebody who can be so valuable to a team that early in their career, because Bordentown had some good years when Luke Guire was there, and I don't know why I'm blanking on some of the other names, but Luke Guire was the main one. He was a fantastic ball player for them. Connor Calora as well. Guire now playing over at Delaware for Greg Mamula, as that one's away. Delaware has not had a great season this year. They've lost nearly 40 games already. But that's their first year in Conference USA. They were originally in the Atlantic 10 Conference. Or, I'm sorry, it was the CAA, the Colonial Athletic Association. So that is a decent amount of different schools, like North Carolina A&T, Monmouth, Stony Brook. There's a swing and a miss. 8 strikeouts for Andrew Forster. And there's 2 away. So, yeah, Northeastern, Monmouth, Stony Brook, Hofstra, Towson. A lot of Northeastern schools in the CAA, but Delaware joined the Conference USA, which I had a feeling would backfire for their teams that were not football and basketball. As this ball's hitting the left field, this one's got a chance to get down, and it does. It gets past Gostheimer. This one's going to go to second. It'll be extra bases. Cut-off throw not nearly going to be in time, and Pennsauken trying to chip away as much as they can here in the late stages. And it'll be a double for Jeremy Batista here with 2 outs in the 5th. That sends up your number 9 hitter in Aiden Alvis. First pitch is a called strike. Apologies for the shaky camera. Something got loose while we were adjusting on that double. Popped up. He'll have a play at first. Brovac goes over, not going to have a play, and he crashes into a chair. Seems like he's all right. And it looks like everybody's laughing down there, down the first base line. So, good thing that nobody's shaken up down there. Two outs, 2 strikes to Alvis after the double by Batista. But if Pennsauken can get at least 1 run here, I think that will be the best thing that they can offer here, because I think that Bordentown, I don't know if their offense is going to get any better right now. I think the 4-run inning was maybe the best they could get. But how about Andrew Forster? He gets the 9th strikeout of the night, and he now has well over 200. He won't even have to worry about that. We talked about he would need 4, but the strikeout machine, I could tell you, he has been quite the impressive arm tonight. And remember, he's not going too far for college either, headed to TCNJ. We're through 5. Pennsauken still off the scoreboard. It's 6-0 Bordentown. Top of the 6th inning, first pitch to start off is outside. This broadcast is brought to you by our friends over at the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, New Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events throughout the Garden State. Visit dawgprowrestling.com for more information. Swing and a miss by the batter is 1-1. Bordentown, 6-0. Opened up the game with a run in the first on a J.R. Brovac RBI single. They added on another in the third thanks to a RBI groundout by Chris Basile. And then 4 runs in the fourth has been the marquee inning of the day. And that all came on a 2-out rally by their top 3 hitters. We saw a single, a flyout, a fielder's choice, and that was the second out. But a slow roller to third by the 9-hitter was an error on the third baseman. And then it all opened up from there. A 2-run double by Nate Williams, an RBI single by Cachabaldo, and a RBI single by Basile. There's a strikeout by the left-hander Miles Mateo. That's his 4th in a row as he cuts down Wood. Oh, no pun intended. And then Gottsman is the batter. But after coming in for Joniel Ventura, he got the 1 out that he needed to get out of the inning. And now 4 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3 of relief. He's been commanding the strike zone just like Ventura did so well of doing. But dare I say that Ventura commanded the strike zone too well during his outing, and that's what got Bordentown to get used to the ball once they got into their third rotation. And it didn't take long before his day was done. There's a ground ball to third. It's a fair ball down the line. The throw is up the line. Can he tag the batter? He does. So a complicated 5-3 ground out, throwing that ball from foul territory. A very strong play by Roger Torres. And there's 2 down. So here's Nate Williams, definitely in line for a player of the game opportunity, because he scored the second run of the game in the third and now has a 2-run double to his name as well. So he's 2 for 3. But Bordentown trying to get some extra runs here to try to put Pennsauken away. This one's lined back up the middle on a 3-hit game for the freshman, Nate Williams. Have a day, sir. Back up the middle, and he gets himself a single with 2 outs here in the 5th. As the hits keep on coming, not just for Nate Williams, but for Bordentown as a whole. My apologies, it looks like Gottesman was safe at first. So I retract what I said earlier. There's only 1 out, and there's 2 runners on. I thought that he was out on that play at third by Roger Torres, but he was not. So there are 2 on. So I guess in that case, that would be a throwing error against Torres, but I don't know. I'd have to look back at that. I think I'm going to score a base hit for now, and then we'll give Williams, obviously, his base hit. Cachabaldo batting with now 1 out. And 2 on. Strike called. Gary Sarno over in the Bordentown dugout as they'll have a throw. They were going to throw down to second. Pena didn't really have any choices because nobody was covering the bag, and by the time he looked over at third, it was too late, so everybody steals. And now it's 2 runners in scoring position. Sarno, a 500-win head coach for Bordentown, missed the first 8 games of the season with a fractured right cheek, as that's now 5 strikeouts in relief for Miles Mateo. He got hit in the face with a foul ball during a scrimmage. And again, this was his first season at Bordentown, so it put in jeopardy what would have been his first season, and we hadn't gotten confirmation if he was going to return, and I didn't even know that he was going to return until I saw him in the dugout this afternoon. His first game was in late April versus Ewing. As this one is hit into left field, this one's got a chance to get down, and it does. Runners come in, and it's a 2-run single. The throw is up the line, it hits the face of the dugout, and now at second base will be Cachabato. Is Basile, pardon. 2-run single. And Bordentown keeps the hits coming, and it's 8-0. So Cachabato struck out, and now Chris Basile with a 2-run single. He advanced to second on the throw. And Bordentown now really in a great spot here. And remember, they were not seeded for the Diamond Classic. Pennsauken 14th. They will host on Wednesday, presumably Wednesday versus Egg Harbor. Strike is called. It's 0-1. That one gets away from Pena. Now down to third will be Basile. And it's 1-1. Up and out, 2-1. I'm a little bit confused by how this game has gone today, because I really thought that this was going to be, you know, a Pennsauken game that was certainly winnable. And I'm not saying I went here because of Pennsauken. I went here because I thought it would be a good game, but I have been, let's just say, pleasantly surprised by how Bordentown has played today. They have played their tails off, and they have earned their successes today, because it has been, you know, you're facing a very good ball team in, you know, ball club in Pennsauken, coming off of an 11-game win streak that was just broken up on Friday by 1 run. And from what I was told by the folks I was talking to, that game versus Northern Burlington, there was some controversy in that game. Apparently a tying run was thrown out when he should have been safe. And, you know, listen, that's something that changes a lot of people's minds about a team, is when you not only can you win games, but you can lose admirably versus very good teams. A walk to Steckley. Curious if Pennsauken is going to try to make a change, but I don't see anybody warming up at this time. It's now 4 RBIs on the day for Chris Basile, by the way, after that single. Strike called to Brovac. He had the first run of the game back in the first inning. Steckley reached base for the first time in his 4th at bat. Ball's fouled back down the third base line, and it's 0-2. So if he can get out of this inning, you'll need somebody for the 7th, but your woes may be done after that, as in the bottom of the 6th inning, it'll be 1, 2, and 3, Padro, De Leon, and Batista. Left-hander, the 0-2. Outside, 1-2. Just a little bit low and away that time. Runner is moving. Now he's trailing off the base. We've got a rundown. The run comes in. The run is going to count. The run will count. He'll get down to second, and they will count that run at home. So Bordentown comes in, and a great deception play. They put all of the attention on the runner at first base, and it allowed that run to stroll in. And that's a play that a 500-win head coach like Gary Sarno does, because that was a fantastically drawn play. Bordentown 9, Pennsauken 0, going to the bottom of the 6th. Top of the order for Pennsauken in the bottom of the 6th inning. You're on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Bordentown with a surprising performance here. It's 9-0. Not to say surprising in the sense that, they're not a bad team. Listen, they've gotten a lot of bad draws this year. They're 5-11. It has certainly not been the easiest of seasons. And it's been a transitional year. You had a very large senior class in 2025 and your head coach of 12 years and somebody who had been involved in the organization for 20-plus years, Chris Glenn, had retired. That's a big gap to fill, and really Gary Sarno was a great candidate for it. Nice play at short. Second, throw to first is in time. Chris Basile. Kid can do anything. He's got 4 RBIs at the plate, and now he's got a web gem over at second base, making that play on the run and making the throw from the opposite side of the bag for out number 1 here in the 6th inning. It's going to bring up Jonah De Leon. He almost left the ballpark in the 4th. Had a double to right center field, and somebody who was next to me at the time, he said, well, that ball would have been gone if the wind wasn't blowing in. And I think he was right. I think he was absolutely right. As that one is laced out towards short, it goes into shallow center field. It's a base hit. De Leon takes the turn. And again, with that tall grass, it stopped very quickly and abruptly in the outfield. But De Leon has a single. It's his 2nd of the day for the Camden County College commit. And Kelvin Batista is the batter. But Sarno, he's been everywhere. He was at Cherry Hill West, Hamilton, Triton, Paul VI, Camden Catholic, and now at Bordentown. And I was talking with him before the game as this is going to be a pass ball on wood. De Leon in at second standing. I was talking to Sarno before the game, and I said, you coached at so many different places, and he mentioned to me that he was a teacher at Hamilton for 29 years, and he retired from that position in 2020. And I said, well, why didn't you stop then? Not to light any gas on the fire, but a lot of coaches would have retired when they retired from teaching. And he said, well, I equate it to mowing the lawn. Somebody, I think he said, my wife tells me that, well, I think this is the year that we have a specialist. We hire a specialist to mow the lawn. And I say, well, not this year. When it's time, it's time. But for now, I still enjoy doing it. And he equates that to his baseball coaching, which I found very admirable. Again, he said he's from Cherry Hill. Bordentown and Cherry Hill, not exactly right next to each other. About a 25, 30-minute drive to Bordentown. I think it's very realistic to say that if you're a baseball coach, you could say that you have this limit for how far you want to travel, and Bordentown plays a lot of road games that are even further than Cherry Hill. So for him, a lot of it's just enjoying the game. And there's coaches like that who, it doesn't matter what team they're coaching, it doesn't matter who they're coaching for or what program they're representing. It's that they're playing the game of baseball or managing the game of baseball. And again, I find that to be incredibly admirable. That one's high to Batista. And Bordentown kind of politely disagreeing with the call from Mr. Haran. One out, runner on second. Pennsauken a long way to go before they're back into this game. But they're looking for their first run. That one is low. Wood checks back for the appeal. Nothing there. This ball is hit well. This ball is gone to right field. It's halfway up the hill. It clears the hill. 2-run home run for Kelvin Batista. And Pennsauken at long last is on the board with a 2-run shot, and it's 9-2. Batista in his home ballpark breaks the shutout off of Andrew Forster. And that blast to right field came at the right time. It came when the wind was dying down because you really didn't know when we were going to see that next. Pennsauken gets on the board. It's 9-2. mean, listen, if you're Kelvin Batista, got to enjoy that. Now Crestel, the batter, takes a strike call at the knees, 0-1. That ball went out to right field, and it hit the top of the hill, and it landed right next to some folks that were sitting up there at the top of the hill. The funny thing about it is they weren't even phased. None of them really moved out of the way. They were just happened to have a baseball in their lap. The 0-2 to Crestel. Outside corner, strike 3. There's 10 strikeouts for Andrew Forster. He gets out of it, although he gives up a 2-run home run to Kelvin Batista. And Pennsauken is on the board. But trying to fly away with this one is the Bordentown Scotties as they lead this one by 7 runs, 9-2. Top of the 7th inning, I want to apologize. That was one of my more embarrassing gaffes. I wanted to go to break. I thought that it was the 3rd out, and I hit the break button, and then I saw Pennsauken went back to bat. I don't even know why I didn't register in my scorecard that there were only 2 outs in the inning. I have no idea why there was only 1 out in the inning. I completely apologize. What you missed, though, was a first pitch 6-3 ground out after he went to break off the bat of Raymond Pena. So you didn't miss much, but I'm still embarrassed by that, so I apologize. Brovac flies out to right field for the first out of the 7th, but Pennsauken gets 2 runs back on that home run. The batter is Harris. Just sometimes you make mistakes, and when you're running a solo crew, it's not – you're certainly not prone to being perfect, and you're more prone to making mistakes. Luke Harris, 1 for 3. 1 single, 2 strikeouts. Strike called. Swing and a miss. But Bordentown, what a day it's been for them. After they lost to Pennsauken 3-0 at Bordentown's home field as a part of Pensauken's 11-game win streak, Bordentown puts up 9, and only 2 of them have been answered. 7 unanswered runs at this point. Took a 2-0 lead in the 3rd, and then 4 runs in the 4th inning to really break this game open, and then 3 more in the 6th. That was the 2-run single by Chris Basile. And then when Steckley was at the plate, a runner tried to break for home, and there ended up being a little pickoff action there to draw the runner in with some deception. That ground ball to short is out number 2. And the batter is Forster. Actually, no, it is not Forster. It will be number 27, which is not on my roster. Now, there's only 3 batters that are listed as substitutes. So number 27 could be Appleby, Vasile, or Morris. As we said, we don't have a number 27 on my roster. I apologize. Well, it pops out of the glove of Pena, but that does appear to me that Forster's day is going to be done. But a good shutdown here by, there's a strike called, by Miles Mateo. Kelvin Batista threw 3 2/3. He was looking really good until just things broke down, and I thought Pennsauken was going to have to use maybe 3 or 4 pitchers, and instead they seemed to be fine with just the 2. Now, to be fair, they're also division champs, and this divisional loss doesn't hurt them as much. You know, it's kind of like when the Phillies won a division super early a few years ago, and they didn't have to worry about the last, 2 weeks of the season. And, it was like a breeze because you knew where you were going to be. But it does appear on their schedule that they are going to play Egg Harbor Township in the Diamond Classic on Tuesday. So disregard everything I said about Wednesday. They just added it to the schedule. It's set for a 4:30 p.m. first pitch, which doesn't surprise me because Egg Harbor definitely has to travel far, and especially on short notice. The batter is Ryan Wood. And a swing and a miss. 2 strikes on him. If the inning continues, Gottesman will be next. The freshman, manning left field for Bordentown. Swing and a miss. Side is retired. That's now 6 strikeouts in relief for Miles Mateo. However, Pennsauken needs a lot on the offensive side to win this one. They trail by 7 entering the final frame. It's Bordentown 9, Pennsauken 2. Back here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Andrew Forster going for the complete game. He marked his 200th career strikeout in the 2nd inning. Didn't take him very long, but he has been rolling. 10 strikeouts for the right-hander, and Bordentown leads this one 9-2. As the 0-2, pardon, 0-1 was a swing and a miss. For Pennsauken, 6, 7, and 8, Torres, Polanco, and Jeremy Batista. The 2 runs Pennsauken had were on a 2-run home run by Kelvin Batista in the 6th. And there's strike 3, 11 for Andrew Forster. So somebody texted me before the game and they said, just so you know, Andrew Forster only needs 4 strikeouts to get to 200. And I said, I don't think that will be a problem, knowing how this guy pitches. Like I said, I saw him his freshman year when I was a junior at Audubon. And I can't remember if he pitched in the game, but I remember he had a couple of hits versus Audubon as a freshman in a game that was definitely interesting. You know, I'd never been up to Bordentown before. I'd never seen what I now call the square, because you have the football field, the baseball and softball fields right next to each other. And, I mean, it's one of my favorite complexes in South Jersey. The only thing I wish is I wish they would have more night games, use the lights more. A strike on the outside corner to Polanco. Alvin Polanco, the first baseman, is 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. But I don't think it's a doubt that Andrew Forster is going to get your player of the game. Even though he's 0 for 3 at the plate, there's been great but then they turned it around. An 11-game winning streak. And their last loss was to Northern Burlington, the Group 3 state champions, in a 1-0 final. Oh, that one gets behind him. Did not hit the batter, but it'll be 2-0 to Jeremy Batista. He's 1 for 2. So now Pennsauken is in danger of losing their 2nd straight game for the first time since last year, which is shocking. Again, if you told me at the beginning of the season that Pennsauken would win 11 straight, I wouldn't have believed you. But this team has a lot of heart, a lot of soul, and they're playing baseball the right way as well. They're playing a lot of fundamental baseball. Not to mention the fact that their 2, 3, and 4 guys, De Leon, Batista, and Crestel, have a lot of power. I mean, obviously with the snow fence, you can kind of make the dimensions whatever you want, but foul back, and it's 2-2. So Andrew Forster looking for the complete game here in Pennsauken on a beautiful Monday afternoon, as he'll be headed up to my father's alma mater, TCNJ, up in Trenton. He's got a dozen strikeouts. Can he get a baker's dozen for the win? Yes, he can. Andrew Forster, complete game. Only blemish, a 2-run home run, and a huge win for Bordentown, their 6th win of the year, with a final score of 9-2, as a huge offensive production by the entire team. And Pennsauken, for the first time since last season, has lost back-to-back consecutive games. Easily your player of the game, Andrew Forster. 13 strikeouts. Gary Sarno threw his #1 guy on the hill, and guess what? He did not disappoint. Only allowed 1 hit in the first 4 innings, and only allowed 4 in the entire game. A double in the 4th, a double in the 5th, and a single and a home run in the 6th inning. Forster finishes today with 13 strikeouts, including his 200th. And for Gary Sarno, it's his 3rd win since coming back from his facial injury in late March. What a game it was. And for Pennsauken, first of all, I should say that this is not the end of the road. They still have to play in the Diamond Classic on Wednesday, and they threw a guy that only had 5 innings on the entire year in Juniel Ventura. I think that didn't help Pennsauken. I think that they kind of wanted to see how they were with pitching, but Miles Mateo shut everybody down. He had a lot of innings in relief, and he was able to find his way into the groove, which I think helped Pennsauken in the long run, because it could have been a lot worse if they didn't manage their pitching. But they pulled Ventura at the right time. They found the right opportunity to yank him from the game and make it the best you can for Bordentown, or for Pennsauken rather. And then for Bordentown, Andrew Forster, I mean, man, you couldn't have asked for a better performance from Forster with 13 strikeouts, 4 hits, and not to mention just 1 walk allowed as well. That'll be all for us tonight on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Your time of game, 1 hour and 55 minutes here from Pennsauken High School. It's a windy, breezy day, but the final score tonight, Bordentown 9, Pennsauken 2. From our entire crew on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, our social media coordinator Haley Mejia, our graphics crew Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you tomorrow from Delsea Regional High School in Franklinville for a Diamond Classic matchup in the first round between the Lenape Indians and the Delsea Crusaders. Have a good one, folks.